Hi, this is Karen again, the Common Sense Millennial. Before we get started, I wanted to share with you today two of the main resources that I and my husband have used to help us with our budgeting. The first one is Dave Ramsey's 7 Baby Steps. The second one is actually Personal Finances for Self-Reliance, a program provided by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the PDF can be viewed online, or if you want to contact a local church around you, they usually have a 12-week program that you can also attend. And the links for both of these pages will be in the description below. Okay, let's get started. Today, the 4 steps we'll be going over to add on to the first video, which was how to plan a simple budget or how to create a simple budget, are 1, how to track your income, 2, plan expenses and due dates, 3, begin tracking expenses, and 4, review at least weekly. So let's start with the first one. So number 1 is tracking income. It's pretty simple. Go to your budget, click transactions here on the bottom, type in your date, the amount you got paid, what it was, and don't forget to choose the category. Otherwise, it wouldn't show up on your summary page here where we planned $850. We just put in $850 and there's 0 difference. Another nice thing about this budget sheet is over here, you can see how much you actually have left in your bank account. Okay, next we plan expenses and due dates, and I have created a nice little sheet here, but you can do it on a piece of paper or notebook or whatever. These are the bills that are due during the first part of the month for us, for our first paycheck. These are the bills that are due, or things that we'd like to put in, savings or whatever, during our second paycheck. Now, the reason I do this is because if you have bills that are due before you get paid again, and let's say you've spent all $850 on transportation and eating out and dates and whatever else, you're going to end up with all of these bills due and not enough money in your bank account to pay them. So I've found it very helpful to realize and visualize how much you actually need to spend on fixed expenses and important bills before you end up spending too much. So here you can see that for our first paycheck, we have a lot of bills, about $561 worth of bills due. So that leaves us with a remainder of about $289 to use for transportation and groceries or whatever else before the next paycheck. And then for our second paycheck, there's quite a bit less bills, and so we have about $461, and that's when we usually will use our spending money and most of our date money and stuff on this one. Now, one thing I wanted to point out before we go on to the next step is some annual expenses. Since there are a few expenses that aren't necessarily paid monthly, such as my husband's life insurance premium, maybe you have a car insurance premium that are due annually, we still set aside money each month so we can pay the bill in full when it is due, which helps us avoid having a huge bill one time during the year that we're not prepared for. All right, let's go on to number 3. Begin tracking expenses. So we'll go back to our transactions page, and it's very similar to the income. Let's do an example. Let's say on the 6th, we spend $89 at Walmart to get groceries. You can put it in however you want. Make sure, again, that you click the category and put it in the category it belongs in. Otherwise, it won't show up on this page. Since we did do that, you can see that it's here. Food and needs, out of the $350, we spent this much. And this is a nice part, is it shows you the difference. In addition, up here it will show you, oh, this is how much I have left in my actual bank account. Now, there's a trick that I have recently learned that has helped us not end up spending too much of this money before our bills. And that is by actually putting these bills in our monthly budget sheet under expenses before they even come out of our bank account. So, for instance, let's take our car insurance. So it's $106, comes out on the 10th. So I'll go to our monthly budget, come down a few spaces to give myself some transactions in between now and then. I'll put in the date, the amount, what it is, as well as the category. Then I'll come to my summary page, and you can see here that it has shown as taken out, as well as up here, it will show, okay, before next paycheck, here's my ending balance in my bank account. And you can do that with some of them or all of them. I do it with all of them because we found it a lot easier to track our expenses. So one other thing that we do is as soon as we swipe our card and get home, I put in how much we've spent and it's pending on our bank account. And so I'll mark it in yellow to show that it's pending. Then when I check again, maybe the next day or the day after, once it's cleared, I will show it as green. And that helps keep the bank account as well as this balanced. So we've talked about tracking income, planning our expenses here with our little expense breakdown, how we're going to put our expenses into our budget sheet and use the tools that it provides to keep track of where we're at. The last thing that we'll talk about on this video is the importance of reviewing this budget at least once a week. Usually I do it right after we spend something because I like to know exactly how much we have left right after. The reason I suggest reviewing at least weekly and do it with your spouse is so that you can be on the same page with your expenses and your spending habits. Finances can cause problems and stress in relationships, so if you review your budget at least weekly with your spouse, a lot of those miscommunications can be resolved, and my husband and I have found that to be true. So we try to review our budget together at least weekly to see where we're at and calibrate and make plans and goals for the future. All right, that's all for today's video. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, whatever you need to do to help yourself kickstart your budget and take control of your money. And don't forget the 2 greatest resources I found. I have links in the description, and I'll also put these 4 steps in the description as well so that you can review them at your leisure. Have a great weekend.